We couldn't do
Yes,
that.
you're just strapped in at that point.
So we lift off and start heading in the right direction. And then there are two maneuvers.
We can actually see them here.
We're just gradually catching up, and we get to the right point, then we initiate the transfer, the intercept, and that may take about 120 degrees.
How did it feel when you saw Mike Collins again? What was the first thing he said to you when you opened the hatch? Because he'd, of course, been orbiting around the moon sooner. Well, no.
Beautifully intersecting curves, and it all worked out fantastically. I mean, if we've managed to work out all the complexities of getting men to the moon, you'd think we'd be answered definitively the age-old question of how many planets there are in the solar system. But we really can't.
From here on Earth, after a 5-year search, they discovered Pluto was merely one of thousands of huge icy rocks orbiting in a band around the solar system. They discovered the Kuiper Belt, and our 9th planet. Like this, what's interesting about this image is you see Pluto's moon, Charon, and whilst New Horizons was on its way, this is the New Horizons spacecraft, by the way, during the flight we discovered 3 more moons. And there was some concern because the trajectory of the spacecraft had been planned without any knowledge of these objects. And they've turned up now. It's not going to hit them, but that's in a sense coincidental. There may have been a course correction necessary.
So is there any way we can make estimations of what Pluto might be like?
We can. As you saw in the film there, Pluto and Charon are Kuiper Belt objects. There are potentially 100,000 objects of a reasonable size, about 100 kilometres or more, out there to be discovered. But some of them are in the inner solar system, some of them by Voyager 2. You see that we thought these are worlds that are frozen solid, minus 225 degrees Celsius, so no one expected them to be active. But if there's anything we've learned about moons in the solar system, they always surprise us. So this is the Voyager 2 image, and you see there is dark...
popped out and caught some of this in action a few weeks ago. Now, over the last few nights here, we've been lucky enough to see this dance playing out. So on Tuesday night, when we looked at Jupiter, we had 2 moons on either side of the planet, but it didn't stay that way for long. Last night when we looked, we had all 4 moons on the right-hand side of Jupiter. And in fact, we even caught the 2 innermost moons changing places. Now tonight when we look, Io has gone all the way to the other side of Jupiter, leaving those more slowly moving moons, Europa, Callisto and Ganymede behind. So we will be coming back tomorrow to see how the moons end the week, and it might not be what you expect.
Last November, the world held its breath for one of the greatest achievements in the history of European space exploration, all space exploration, I think. A space probe called Rosetta arrived at a distant comet called 627P, and its landing craft Philae, brave little Philae, managed the first ever successful touchdown on the surface of a comet.
You can't say...
I guess. And so we had to try and affix ourselves to that. If you were on Earth and you could jump higher than 4 centimetres, you can leave this comet. That's the escape velocity. So it's a weird place.
It's settled in at all. Have you seen it since?
No, not yet. But we know roughly where it is from the telemetry we were getting when it was still operating late in that week during November.
What science have we got so far from Rosetta?
We've set the bar for the rest of the mission in terms of what the first...
He wants to enable humans to colonize space. And to do this, he needs the materials from asteroids.
The cost of getting material off Earth at the moment is the biggest impediment to doing inside and we want to extract it.
The friction generated by the drill will heat the ice. Because space is a vacuum, the ice will turn straight to vapor, which will purify it at the same time. Chris uses a vacuum chamber to help mimic some of the conditions of space.
Swings by again.
Could I ask you, when Apollo 11, so you flew on Apollo 11, at the end of the Apollo program, did you think that you would be part of a Mars program? Did the idea, you know, I know Von Braun had plans to go to Mars with Saturn V technology.
Well, I was not really into thinking about, I was interested.
Guy, let's go back out to Lucy.
Thank you, Dara. Now, I am very excited to be able to show you this fuzzy patch. What you're seeing here is a comet. And not only that, but it is a live view of the comet that's in the sky right now, just to the left of due north and about 45 degrees up, so halfway up the sky. But what's the best way to view comets? Well, a few weeks ago, I went to find out how we can view these fleeting wonders of the solar system. It's a cold winter's evening in Cambridge, and one
Just happened on the Earth. The first multicellular creatures hadn't yet crawled out of the oceans. That happened.
And then we arrived in the last couple of days,
Just
just in time for this show.
Stargazing 2015.
Do you think it was planned in some way?
No.
I don't either.
But on the other hand, we would have missed this if it hadn't been for our volunteers. We're still arguing over what type of supernova it is, but we've also got new data from our telescopes in Australia, which has been taken and used the hashtag Orion. Our software will recognise where it is in the sky, stick those images together, and will present the best image of Orion you've ever seen tomorrow night's programme.
It's great, Chris. I just want to remind everyone, the supernova, we're trying to recalculate the age of the universe. That's what that data's for.